to do a quick lesson on one of my favorites. I believe it was the Myers brothers. I might be wrong on the guitar players, but the guitar playing behind Sonny Boy Williamson's Keep It To Yourself recording. There's some really neat ideas for comping behind a shuffle. So while some people are playing the A shuffle, if you're the second guitar player in the band, if you don't want to double that, a nicer thing to do is to make use of your triads. So what I was doing there is over the one chord, I'm playing off of a couple of triad shapes, and I'll diagram these out so that you have PDFs later to refer back to. But I'm basically taking over that blues, I'm taking a D-shaped A chord, but I'm taking that root down to the flat 7 to make it a 7th, A7. And then I'll walk that down a whole step to the F structure. You probably know this chord shape, or the big A bar chord, just an A chord. So I've got or you can take the outside note. That's just the outside of the chords, this first and the third string. The 4 chord, when I get to the D, I'm borrowing a D bar chord. Most people might know, but I'm just taking the top structure and I'm adding on the top the flat 7. Then I'm walking down to the 6th. Then walking down to the 5th. So I get this moving line. Back to the A. To the E chord, I'm on the 5 chord. Same as what I did on the D, drop it down a whole step. And then I'm going to walk up the same shapes in reverse. And I end with the old classic 5 chord, walking from the F9 to the E9 turnaround. He's got a bunch of ideas in that record. That's just a nice little quick overview of what you can do with the power of triads and knowing your voicings and your scales surrounding your voicings and how you can alter those. So let's break that down in a lesson here to make that make sense for you. So let me pull up some diagrams for us, and we'll take a look at how to apply those to your playing so that you can learn how to move it to different keys. That's the main goal you want to do on guitar, is you want to be able to take these concepts and move them to different keys to allow you to have, you know, a little be light on your feet and be able to play along with different players and different styles. So let me zoom in on this real quick. So what we're doing over your 1 chord, the A, I've got the root, the 5th, and the 3rd. That's one of our A chord structures. And then our other target is from this A is the root, but we want to get the 3rd, the 5th, and the flat 7, which looks like a D7 shape from your beginner chords. We're moving this one down a whole step into the 1 chord. So we're just dropping this one down a whole step into that 1 chord, and that's your A structure. Sometimes I'm playing the outside notes, sometimes I'm playing the inside notes, or all 3 notes, the triads. So let me demonstrate that again. This is for our A, or A7. So into that A7, I'll zoom in on this for you. I'm going to take the A chord, there's my root at the 10th fret, but I want to think of it from this shape, the 7th, because it's my flatted 7th down a whole step from the root. Going down a whole step to the major. I see some people play that with a minor chord too. That works as well. The 7ths are normally subbed in for minor chords and major chords all over blues and jazz, so it's not a big deal to keep it as a 7th. So there's my 1 chord. I also did it with just the outside notes. So we're called 6th, that's a whole nother lesson, but we'll come back to that. But you can just do the outsides of those chords if you see it. So we're moving on to the D chord and the E chord. So let's take a look at that. Moving on to the D chord. The 4 chord. I've got the root, the 5th, sorry, not the 5th, the 3rd, and the 5th. That's a triad shape. By the way, if you don't have Chord Connections by Robert Brown, that's an exhaustive study in these triad shapes and their magic on the guitar, especially once you start wrapping your scales around it. So referring to scales, if I know the dominant 7th scale, major scale with a flat 7, I'm just going to go a whole step up to add the 6th as a tone to access, and the flat 7, which is a blues note, or the dominant chord, which is what we're playing for the D7 sound in the song. So I'm borrowing these 3 notes of my ring, my pinky, my ring finger, and I roll the ring finger up to the index to get this one for D. So I'll show you that in person. Let me zoom back in on that. So here's my D bar chord, but I'm learning it from the top 3 notes. Rolling up off that first string, get that 5th, so that's the flat 7, 6th, 5th, right? Then I'm back to that 1 chord. Going to the 5 chord, E. I'm just taking the D up a whole step, so just what we learned. Walking down to the D, and then back to that 1. And I end it with a 9th chord, F9, go to the E9. So that can be a nice little way to comp over a 12-bar blues if someone else is doing the shuffle. I would definitely encourage you to listen to that record. There's a lot more variation on that and a lot of cool tricks and stuff he does. If that's something you're interested in doing, or if you're having trouble with the theory or understanding triads or how to wrap your scales around your triads, hit me up at www.thefretfeed.com or eric@thefretfeed.com. I offer private lessons, and we can go through all this theory and kind of demystify the fretboard, and we can do it in a logical step-by-step order depending on where your skill level is. But that's the blues. That's something that's kind of near and dear to my heart. Great way to add some new dimension and new conversations to your blues playing and keep from getting stuck in a rut with that same old kind of 12-bar blues lump that everybody plays. Not that I don't enjoy that part of the song too, but it's just fun to comp those chords. And definitely check out the Myers Brothers. They're all over the Chess Records 1950s recordings. They back up many, many artists. I think particularly Little Walter might be a good place to start backing up his harmonica players. So let me know if you have questions on that, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope that adds something to your playing. Thanks.